Hi, everyone. Today, I'm blessed to be joined by Srini Tummalapenta, who is a distinguished engineer and CTO of IBM Security Services.
Yeah.
So, Srini, thank you so much for joining us to talk about AI security.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
So, Srini, I want to start by asking you about generative AI and the way that has impacted kind of like your, how you generally see kind of like AI has impacted the world of cybersecurity.
Okay. So it has impacted in a positive way, and there is room for improvement. So we see that as an opportunity. So the positive way is generative AI can now be a very good tool for our defense purposes. It can help our analysts. It can analyze the telemetry. It can analyze the bad actor activity. It can provide us response actions. So that's a positive aspect of it. Where we see it as an opportunity is as clients and our own teams are building AI models, training data, training the models with that data, or even consuming publicly available AI as a service, there is a need for security to be enabled. There's a need for data security, data protection that needs to be enabled on that. So from a business perspective, that's an opportunity for us. Right? One of our IBV reports, which is Institute of Business Value, it's released by IBM, it said that only 24% of the CEOs, they factored in security for AI. That means we have 76% who have not even considered any security. So that's an opportunity space for us. But about 80 plus CEOs said that they're using some sort of AI. Okay, so that's a business aspect of the adoption of AI. So that I see both positive and opportunity for.
It sounds like there is like some awareness, maybe like in the order of like 30% awareness to the fact that, like kind of serious awareness to the fact that like AI is, needs to be secured as well, and 70% that still needs to be educated. So let me ask you about the 30-ish% that are aware. So what are the concerns that enterprises are coming to you, and what are the things that they're asking you about, when it comes to AI security?
So it ranges from different persona groups within the enterprises. Right? For example, we see majority of the enterprises are using SaaS-based AI for their employees. Right? Give them access to a SaaS AI, and you say go use it for your summarization or translation or other purposes. So they're using it. The other part of the enterprise are the model or the application builders. Right? Where we have this persona group of consumers, they're asking us to say, okay, what is that they're using? How do we protect the prompts? How do we ensure that there's no sensitive information leaked into the model, and who's doing what when? Okay? So that's the tracking part of it.
And you're seeing the enterprises like being aware of those risks, like those concerns, like as when they when you meet them.
Yes. So that's one group. The other persona group is more about where we have the AI builders.
Yeah.
They're looking at how do I inspect the data set and ensure that there is no sensitive information or trademark information or hate, abuse, profanity.
Because they know that then that goes in, ultimately then that goes into the models in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
So that's one part of it. Yeah. The other part of it is, which is we have to raise the awareness, is that everybody understand that models might have vulnerabilities. Publicly available model, there would be bad actors who could have put in backdoors or malware insertions and use it for nefarious purposes at a later point of time. Not many people are aware of that. So that's the education, particularly for the builders, that we have to educate them, and we have to ensure that they're using that part of the build process as well as ongoing management process.
That makes a lot of sense. And this is similar to kind of like the things that that we're hearing. I think there's kind of like there's good convergence alignment there. So I guess kind of like then how do you now there's sort of like the 70-ish% I guess that are not yet thinking about not seriously thinking about AI security. So the question is like, how do you educate them how does that journey begin?
So we have a program where we have this subway map sort of layout where we are educating them depending on their AI journey. So for example, a client comes to us and says, we want to build AI, but we don't know where to start, how to start. We have a strategy workshop for them. There is a client who says, we are building the models, but what do we do? What is it? So we said, go do threat modeling on it. Somebody who's in the advanced stage of, okay, we figured out how to build the models and build the data and the training data set. What do we do? Data inspection, data protection. So we have steps like that. So it's in the strategy phase, move, build phase, and manage phase. So we have a subway map, and we have mapped it to where you have to do this. We call them as the essential aspects. Then there are certain things which could be optional. And so we have recommendations like that to ensure that security and compliance is mapped along with their AI journey.
I have the privilege of knowing that map. I think it's like extremely comprehensive, and and you're right. I think it is like kind of very educational, and I think it touches a lot of things that some of these are things that I sort of like understood intuitively, but I haven't thought about them formally. So I really like that. And so one thing that that we'll do is with your permission is like we'll make that map available to folks who are watching the video. So with that in mind, I guess kind of I'm curious. So we have the map, and then so we can start guiding people on on their kind of like journey towards securing their AI. So who are the stakeholders, right? That that now are involved when kind of like looking at this map? Is it is it only the security organization? Is it or is it yeah?
So stakeholders, line of business owners, okay, who are building the applications, and they need the model to be built. So number one.
So this is really like the AI teams, the CDOs.
For example, let's take a sales organization, right? A marketing organization, or a finance entity within that. So they would need their specific applications and AI built for that. Okay, so that's the major stakeholder. And what we have seen in the organizations is there could be a chief privacy officer, or somebody is managing the risk and the policy. So that person should be there. There's a CDO, chief data officer, who owns the data for that particular line of business or across the enterprise. Okay? CISO, obviously, we have to be at the table. That at the minimum has to be that team that is part of the governance entity. Okay? Then they should put a governance model saying what is the intake process, what are the business benefits and the outcomes that you're expecting of this AI and AI applications, what is the method that are adopting to bring the data, test the models, how they're building applications, and run through the software development lifecycle. Okay? So they have to have that governance and that assurance, then qualify them appropriately, then release them through the lifecycle.
Okay, so I'm thinking of a map. I'm thinking of stakeholders. If I had to boil it down to a few principles, right? Are there like a few principles that that you think are can be easily communicated about what people should do about AI security?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So there are two aspects to that. One, we talked about the persona groups. There are consumers, okay, and there are AI builders or the model builders. Okay. When you look at that, what exactly happened at the moment, the exposures that have happened. The exposures are, there is, due to misconfigurations in the cloud entity of that AI builder, the training data set was exposed.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a conventional threat. It's cloud misconfiguration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The second one is a AI entity was DDoSed.
Okay.
It's a conventional threat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The third one is about prompt accidental input of sensitive data or yet to be released product code into the prompt. Okay. So if you look at those three things, conventional threats, okay, which is DDoS attack, you have conventional methodologies to protect it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next one is where there was misconfiguration happened, potential for training data set to be leaked and data set to be poisoned. That is conventional threat, it took a new meaning. But you still have technologies that you can do it. Right. The third one, there is a sensitive data leakage possibility. That's why you have to do prompt inspection, prompt detection. It's not only just about content, but also the context of the prompt. That's where I like your solution very much, because you do that very well, right? So that's the persona group, which is the consumer group. Now, when you're looking at the AI builders, the model builders, right, they're handling the data, they're handling the models, they're building the applications, they're enabling the usage to that applications, and they're putting that on an infrastructure. Okay? And they need to have a governance, and they have to be driven by a corporate policy on top of it. So the principles in this case is secure the data, secure the models, secure the usage of it, secure the applications, and across the board, everything across that infrastructure layer, including identity and access management, data protection at rest and motion, right? The infrastructure security itself, right? The governance part of it is abiding by the corporate principles, corporate policies that are currently available, apply on top of it, but there could be new policies coming up. As new policies coming in, got to bring it in, see the delta, enhance the corporate policies, apply them, continuously monitor it, and report to regulators.
That makes a lot of sense, and then the continuously monitoring it and the governance that follows. I'm guessing you're right, like standard security practices. If I'm going to like paraphrase a little bit what you're saying in terms of like the technology, it sounds like you're looking at kind of like sort of three major like kind of dimension of vectors of threat, and then for where we have for some of them we have existing technologies that have to be but we have to make sure that they're purposed like for AI. But then there's some where it's like require new technology for handling things around the prompt, like kind of like all the safety security risks around the prompt injection, and then that's kind of like a new block, relatively speaking, right? That we have to be put in. That makes a lot of sense, and those are the things that that we're seeing as well. Related to that, so we're seeing a lot of kind of a lot of vulnerabilities and a lot of kind of like a lot of risk coming out from models. I'm curious, like for you guys, red teaming is bread and butter.
Yep.
Right. So for someone who is like for someone who's like so experienced in red teaming, how do you see AI red teaming differ from traditional software?
Yep. Red teaming? So we have to start with what the potential risks are on AI. So we talked about threat modeling on the front. What are you doing from a threat modeling standpoint? What is new to AI? There could be backdoors created in the models. There could be data poisoning. There could be inference attacks. There could be model evasion that could be done. So those are the risks. When it comes to red teaming, after all the build process happens, now when you're pre-deploy state, when you're bringing the red teaming to do those things, they have to do the original thing that is across the stack. That's the way they do that analysis. But in addition to that, they have to be able to test the model, say model effectiveness, accuracy. Those may be the data scientists that will do, but this could be the combination of the red teaming and the data science testing that needs to be done. Now look for backdoors, look for model evasion, look for malware to be inserted. And you have certain things that you could say, okay, here is a document and it has hidden malware URLs, and to a naked eye it doesn't appear like that, but is your model catching those things? So that's the kind of red teaming exercises that needs to be done. And obviously these are not like onesie twosie things that we need to have a combination of automation testing plus manual testing as well. That combination is what will be effective on model red team testing.
Yeah. So there's something about like kind of with there's always kind of like I feel like kind of the separation of like identifying the known unknowns versus like the unknown unknowns, right? Like which kind of like more thorough red teaming can give you. when you kind of like start discuss about like how organizations are adopting AI and AI security, you kind of like you made like kind of I think like a really nice separation between the SaaS models versus the ones that are being built like kind of in-house. Where's the future? Do you feel like it's going to be predominantly SaaS models? Do you feel like it's going to be predominantly like open source? And like kind of what do you see the implications for security?
It'll be combination.
Okay.
Yeah. What we have seen is a general purpose.
Sorry, combination in a single organization, or you feel like there are some organizations that are going to be doing one thing and others are going to be open source?
No, it'll be combination within a single organization. Mm-hmm. And we are talking about very large organizations.
Right.
Large organization to mid-sized organization. Okay? We've seen examples of general consumption being for our organization users. They're being provided AI access as a service and use it for your regular daily activities. We've seen AI being used by the developers within that same organizations for application development purposes. We are seeing requests for testing the application code using AI. Okay? Explaining a code that is already there, or even writing the documentation for the code that's being developed is a common use case. That's a very low risk scenario, right? So that will have a good adoption. Then we are looking at specifically built models for large organizations. So we were in a conversation with a utilities company. They generate power through nuclear reactors. They have computer vision. They want to have inspection done in all the utilities facilities. So they're developing their own models in that. So you see that's a purpose-built model for that particular company and that industry segment, but application development is in the middle. Right? Then they could have a range of use cases within the application development, call center applications, right, where you can operate many of the activities by just do a prompt and you just need a response. You don't need a human activity behind it. Right? That's the kind of things that say every organization can use it to general users that can use AI for their benefits.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So beyond for like open source versus like SaaS models, like what's your general perspective? Like where do you see the future of AI going, and kind of like how that plays with and how security plays within that future?
So I think AI, much like cloud, always take cloud adoption and how it started and where it is right now. Much like cloud, it will start like, okay, there is a general purpose, there is few people like it, few people don't like it, few people are testing the waters. You'll have those things. As we go along, there will be a common ground formed, and it will be a hybrid model. It will be a combination of this plus the private models or the fine-tuning models done on that. So that'll where we will settle. So we have to look at that. Where security plays a role is it's important, much like I mentioned about the two persona groups, the two processes where you have consumers and the builders. Security has to play a major role in terms of developing the trustworthy AI, because we have to work with the organizations to secure those applications. Primarily secure the data. Ensure that there is trustworthy data generated as part of that training data set. And in addition to that, just one-time generation, there will also be a need to maintain the lineage of the data and the lineage of the models. That's very important. There will be regulations asking for that. Because at future state, if the model has accuracy issues or hallucination issues, if you have to go trace and audit where it started, why it happened, you need the data lineage and model lineage as well. Okay? So security will play a role on that. Security will play a role on the governance of all these activities. You will see regulations coming up. Think about GDPR.
Yeah.
Think about all the other nation states that would come in. There could be regulations coming in, and regulations will overlay on the existing policies. So security has to play a role. Security and compliance and governance has to play a role in that. Additional insert, this is not talked about a lot, is about the unlearning process. Okay? It's a security thing. It's also a data science thing. So for example, a model has learned on a particular data. and somebody has objection to a certain data element in that. Think about GDPR and right to be forgotten and that. So they will object to it and say, now you need to take it out of the model.
Yeah.
There has to be an unlearning process.
Yeah, which is going to be very, very difficult to actually validate. Like, forget doing it, but actually validating that it has really kind of gone through the forgotten process.
So that security has to play a role in that process. It's like where it is, why it is, auditability, traceability, and governance aspect of it. Okay? So such is there are certain things that we have figured out. There are certain things we don't know the answers yet. It's a research activity that's underway.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, I feel like we have exciting years ahead of us,
Yes.
in the space.
Definitely exciting.
Exactly. Well, Srini, thank you so much for taking the time, for chatting here. Very much looking forward to seeing what you guys continue on doing in the space. Super exciting, and looking forward to continue working together.
No, there innovators like you are very, very essential to ensuring that we develop trustworthy AI, secure it during usage. And you have, at the moment, your product is in both those spaces. And hopefully you maintain that strength and mature those things, and in the future develop more capabilities to continuously secure AI.
On that note, thanks. I really appreciate it. Well, thank you, Srini, and looking forward to.
Thank you so much for having me.